it's my pleasure to welcome you to this edition of our video series. Remember the last few periods we've been taking questions or solutions to your past question, West Africa Examination Council Examination 2020. The last two series we produced the answers to question 1 to 10, 11 to 20, and today we'll be looking at question 21 to 30. I'm excited to be the one to teach you, go through these solutions with you, and I want you to pay attention because we'll be using all principles and laws in mathematics to help you get the solutions to this question, and you are going to see such solutions in your future examination. I am Andy, your uncle on this channel, New Track Mathematics, the channel through which we help students, we groom students and teach them mathematics, including some other unique subjects, so that they can take their exams and then pass it. Are you ready? Now let's look at question number 21. Question number 21 says, in the diagram, PQ is equal to, line PQ is equal to SR. Find the value of what? Of X. So we are given this diagram and we are told that this line is equal to this line. Now let's close this line and assume that this is, of course, is a right angle what? Triangle. Now let's look at this as a polygon, where this is a right angle triangle, 90 degree. This is also what? 90 degree. Now if we take this to be a polygon, the end side, this will be a polygon of what? A five-sided what? A five-sided polygons, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and what? And 5 sides. So the sum of the interior angles of our polygon is equal to what? The sum of the interior angles of a polygon of a polygon is equal to what? N minus 2 multiplied by what? By 180 degree. So we have five-sided polygon. The n is 5. Then we'll have our 5 minus 2 times what? 180. That will tell you, give you the sum of all the interior angle. And if you get this, you're going to have 3 times what? 180. So 3 times 180 will give us, 3 times 0 will give us 0. This will give us what? 4 and what? And 5. So 3 times 180 will give us 500 and what? 40. Good. So this is the sum of the interior angles of this polygon. So having gotten the sum of the interior angles of this polygon, the next thing we need to do is to find the value of X. Remember, we are asked to look for the value of X. So the value of X is the sum of all the interior angles will give us what? Our X plus what? Plus our 90 degree plus what? 90 degree plus 68 degree plus 246 degree, and that will be equal to what? 500 and what? 40. Having gotten this, finally we can now add our angles. 0 degree plus what? 180 degree plus 68 degree plus what? 246, and that will be equal to what? 540. So 180 plus 68 will give us what? 8 and 4 and what? 248. So our 248, that will give us what? Our X degree plus what? 200 and what? 48 degree plus what? 246 degree equal to what? 540. So this plus this will give us 4. This will give us 8 plus this 9, and this will give us 4. That will be what? Equal to what? 540. So let's conclude the solution. So we are going to have our x degree plus this to be equal to what? This. So our x degree will be equal to 540 minus 494 degree. So if you subtract this minus this, our x degree will be equal to what? This will give us 6. This will give us 4 degrees. So our x is going to be what? 46 degree, and that is the value of the angle x. You get that? Now let's look at question number 22. Question number 21 says the expression 5x plus 3 all over 6x raised into bracket x plus 1 will be undefined when x equals. Now when we look at equation fractions that are undefined, when we are asked to look for the value of x that will make a given fraction undefined, all we need to do is to look at the denominator of that fraction, and that denominator of that fraction will be undefined if the denominator is equal to what? 0. So expanding this further, we'll have our 6x to be equal to 0, and what? X plus 1 to be equal to what? 0. So from here our x will be equal to 0 divided by 6, and what? Our x here will be equal to minus 1. So 0 divided by 6, our x here will be equal to 0, and our x will be equal to what? Minus 1. So at the value of x, which is 0 and what? Minus 1, at the values of x equal to 0 and minus 1, this expression will be what? Will be undefined. Let's look at question number 22. So in question number 23, we are asked to what? To simplify a over b minus b over c minus c over b. Now if you are given this kind of question, all you need to do is to go straight to the point. Look for the LCM of these denominators, and that will give us b, a, and what? And b. So we'll go to b first. B divided by b will give us 1, this will give us a, and this will give us 1. Then a, this will give 1, 1, and what? 1. So the LCM is going to be what? A times b, which is what? AB. Now ab divided by b will give us a times a will give us a square, minus ab divided by a will give us b times b will give us b square, minus ab divided by b will give us a times c will give us what? AC. So if we simplify this further, we are going to get what? This equation. And if you check the options, you're going to see this value in the options. So this is as simple as you can see. Let's look at question number 24. Now let's look at question number 24. In question number 24, we are asked to find tan of angle ZT and what? XZ and T. Now in the diagram, XYZ is an equivalent triangle of size 6 centimeter, and T is the midpoint of X and Y. Find tan of angle XZT. Good. Now this is an equivalent triangle, and in an equivalent triangle all the sides are equal. Now if all the sides are equal, that means this side to this other side is what? Is 6 centimeters. So this point, since this is the midpoint, this will be what? 3 centimeters. Remember what we are asked to look for? The tan of this angle x, z, and t. So this is the angle we are asked to look for. Now for us to look for this angle, we need to find this side. Why do we need to find this side? Because they say we should look for the tan of this angle. Assuming we aren't asked to look for the tan of this angle, we can just use this other side. If they have asked us to find this angle, we can just use opposite over hypotenuse. We'll use our sine to find theta. But this time around, they want us to look for the tan. And if you are looking for the tan, remember your souk à toi. Remember your souk à toi. In your souk à toi, tan is what? Tan is the opposite over the what? Opposite over the adjacent. Now, the opposite of this angle is 3. The adjacent is this side. So that means we need to look for what? For this side. Now, for us to look for this side, we will use no other method than the Pythagoras theorem. Since this is a right angle triangle, we use the Pythagoras theorem. And the Pythagoras theorem states that the hypotenuse of any angle, the square of the hypotenuse of a right angle triangle, is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. So if we have this side, which is the hypotenuse, we'll have it as 6 squared to be equal to this other side will be what? 3 squared plus what? This other side, which is what? zt what? Square. So this will give us what? 36 equal to what? 9 plus what? zt square. Guess you are following. So this will give us what? zt square will be equal to what? 36 minus what? 9. And 36 minus 9, zt square will give us what? 20 what? 27. Now let's zt will now be equal to what? We'll square root both sides. If we square root both sides to clear this square, we are going to have our zt square, square root of our ct square times the square root of what? 20 what? 27. This will cut this. 27 is not a perfect square, so we are going to look at how to go about this. Our zt now will be equal to what? 27, square root of 27. And if we use our sword, square root of 27 will give us square root of what? 9 times what? 9 times 3, right? Because 9 times 3 will give us 27. Good. So this will give us what? Square root of 9 times what? Square root of 3. And that will give us what? 3 root what? 3 root 3. So that means our zt now will be what? 3 root what? 3. Good. Now we are about looking for the tan of this angle. Now the tan of that angle will give us tan theta will now give us what? Our opposite over our what? Our adjacent, and our opposite is what? 3 centimeters. So that will give us 3 divided by our adjacent to be 3 root what? 3 root 3. So this will be equal to what? This one, this will cut this to give us 1. So that will give us 1 over what? Root 3. So that means tan theta will be equal to what? 1 over what? Over root what? 1 over root 3. So you see that if you can use sword, you can reduce this. We have a full-blown video on sword. Check our playlist and you will see a full-blown video. If you are doubting how we go about doing this, it's just the use of the principles found in sword. So with that, you can get your solution, and our solution is what? 1 over what? 1 over root what? 3. So if you check this in your option is not there, then using the same principles in sword, you can rationalize this to get a rationalized value, because this is an irrational what? Number. So you can rationalize this sword to get a rationalized result. Now let's look at question number 25. Now let's look at question number 25, and question number 25 is a question on angle of elevation, and it says a fence 2.4 meter tall is 10 centimeter away from a tree of height 16 meter. Calculate the angle of elevation of the top of the tree from the top of the fence. Now you know what I used to tell you about questions in trigonometry or angle of elevation or depression. I say if you can draw them, then you can solve them. Now let's look at how we go about drawing this question. Now remember, the first question you were told that you have a tree, you have a fence, and the fence, let's say we have a fence, and the fence is how many meters tall? The fence is what? 2.4 meter tall, and it is 10 meter away from a what? 10 centimeter away from a tree. Good. Now the tree, the height of the tree is 16 meter from the ground. Now we are asked to calculate the angle of elevation of the top of the tree from, take note of this, from the top of the fence. So we are counting from here to the top of the what? The tree. So you see, this is the angle we are asked to look for, the angle of elevation from the top of the what? Of the fence. So having done that, we have seen that this side is always equal to this side. So this side will also be what? 2.4 meters. And this other side will be what? 10 centimeter, as we were told. Now all we need to do is to find this other side, because we will need this other side to what? To find the value of this what? Of this angle. Now how do we get the value of that other side? Remember, let's assume that that other side is what? Y. So our y now, remember, the whole length of the tree is what? 16. So if 16, the whole length is 16 meters, our 16 will be equal to what? 2.4 plus what? Plus y. So our y now will be equal to 16 minus what? 2.4. 16 minus 2.4 will give us, we'll have our 16.0, and we'll have our what? Minus 2.4. That will give us 13.6. That will give us 13.6. So that our y now will be equal to what? 13.6. And remember, that is not what we are looking for. We are looking for this angle. So this angle is going to be opposite over what? Opposite over adjacent, and that's going to be tan of what? That's going to be tan of theta. So the tan of theta will be equal to, the opposite is what? 13.6 divided by the adjacent is what? 10. So our tan theta will be equal to this divided by this will give us 1.36. Remember, we are asked to find the angle of elevation. The angle of elevation is what? Theta. So our theta will be the arctangle of what? The value 1.36. So if you want to get the arctangle of this, you can equally punch your calculator. You can punch the inverse second function of tan of this value. You get your what? You get your answer. But equally, if you want to use your four-figure table, of course you're allowed to use calculator in your Waec. So all you need to do is just to punch 1.36 second function tang, it will give you the value of of theta. And if you want to use your four-figure table, you turn to the to the tangs of angles. And if you turn to the tangs of angle, you look at where the value under which this angle, the angle under which this value lies. And if you check it properly, this value will lie on angle of 53 under difference 6 and 7. So our theta will be equal to 53.67. That is the answer. So this angle of elevation from the top of the fence to the top of the tree is 53.67. If you check the options, this is part of the options. So during the course of your course of taking Waec, you are opportune to use calculator. It makes the solution to questions like this very easy. Let's look at question number 26. So this is question number 26, and question number 26 says Fatih buy milk at X naira per tin and sells each at a profit of Y naira. If she sells 10 tins of milk, how much does she receive from the sale? So this is a question on profit and loss. Now remember, as you carry out this question, you should know that your profit is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. Now at what cost does Fatih buy the milk? The cost price, which is CP, is equal to X naira. Now the question is, how many milk did Fatih buy? Fatih bought, here he sells each at a profit. Now the profit Fatih made is The profit Fatih made is Y naira. So how many milk did Fatih sell? She sells 10 milk. So if Fatih sells 10 milk, that means she must have, the cost price of that 10 milk will be X naira times times 10, which is equal to 10x naira. That will be the cost price Fatih will use in buying that milk. Now if she sells each of those milk at N naira, that means Fatih must have made a profit of Y naira times times 10, which is equal to 10y naira. So having gotten our cost price for 10 tins of milk to be 10x naira and our profit as 10y naira, all we need to do is to find how much she received from the sales of that 10 tins of milk. So to get that, we've said initially that our profit is equal to the selling price plus the cost price. So our selling price now will now be equal to the cost price plus plus our profit. That is exactly what she's going to get. So let's analyze that and finally get our final solution. Now if we analyze that, we are going to see now that the price, the amount he spent in buying, she received from the sales of that is 10x naira plus 10y naira. So our selling price will now be 10 naira common x plus plus y. So that will be the amount she receives after selling 10 tins of milk. You see, it's very easy. This is question number 26. Now let's look at question number 27. question number 27. It says if tan y is positive and sin y is negative, in which quadrant would y lie? This is a question under trigonometry, and we're going to consider the quadrant, quadrant of each of these angles. Now we are told that theta is equal to what? Y, and we are told that what? We are told that tan of y is what? Is positive, and the sine of what? Y is what? Is negative. Now in trigonometry we have 4 different quadrants, and we use an acronym to identify each of the quadrants and which of these angles are positive or negative in any quadrant. We have the cast and we have the what? The arcs. So if you are going through clockwise, you have the what? The cast. But if you are going anti-clockwise, you have the arcs. Now what does all this mean? This arcs means that all in that quadrant, in this angle, in this quadrant is what? Every angle in this quadrant is what? Is positive. This one, only sine in this quadrant is positive, only tan in this quadrant is positive, and only cos in this quadrant is positive. So that means under this quadrant, sine is what? Sine is negative, and cos is what? Negative. Under this quadrant, tan is what? Negative, and cos is what? Negative. Under this quadrant, all are what? Positive. While under this quadrant, tan is what? Negative, and sine is what? Negative. So you see how useful this acronym can be. So considering what we see in this acronym, we can apply it here. So if tan is positive, it definitely shows us that this is the first what? Quadrant. This is the second what? Quadrant. This is the third what? Quadrant, and this is the fourth what? Quadrant. So if tan is positive here, it simply tells us that y will lie in this what? Quadrant, because definitely y, sine and cos will be what? Negative. So this shows us that the angle y, the y lies in the what? In the third what? In the third quadrant. And that is that, because every other quadrant, tan will be what? Tan will be negative, except in this, in which all are what? Positive. So you see, that is exactly the question, the answer to that question, third quadrant only. We're going to look at question number 28. Question number 28, and the question number 28 says the dimension of a rectangular base of a right pyramid are 9 cm by 5 cm. If the volume of the pyramid is 105 cm cube, how high is the pyramid? Now generally we can use a general formula in solving a question under a pyramid, and the general formula for solving a question under pyramid is for finding the volume of a pyramid. VL is equal to 1/3 times the what? Times the area of the base times what? Times the height of that shape. Now if you look at the area of the base of that shape of that pyramid times the height of that pyramid, this is a general formula for finding the volume of a pyramid. But in this question we are asked to find the height of the pyramid. We've already given the volume, we're already given we don't know the base, but we know it's a rectangular base pyramid, but we are asked to look for the height. Now let's look at if we can draw this pyramid. They say it's a rectangular base pyramid, so we'll have a pyramid like this. which is a rectangular base pyramid. Good. And we are asked to look for the height of the what? The pyramid. This is the height of the pyramid from the center. We are asked to look for the height of the pyramid. Remember, this is the radius, and this will be the height of the what? Of the pyramid. And we are told that this is what? This is 9 centimeter, and this is what? 5 what? Centimeter, being the base as a rectangular base of the pyramid. So if we are given this pyramid, we are asked to look for the height of the pyramid. Remember, I told you that the volume of a pyramid is equal to the 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So if we are given this question, all we need to do is, we know that this is a rectangle, a rectangular base pyramid, and the area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the what? Times the breadth. So the volume of that pyramid, volume of the pyramid, of the rectangular pyramid, will be equal to 1/3 times the length times the breadth times what? The height of the pyramid. And we are asked to look for the height. So we know that our 105 centimeter cube will be equal to 1/3 times, this will give us what? 9 centimeter times what? 5 centimeter times what? Times the height. So 3 here, 1, 3 will give us what? 3. So we are going to have 105 centimeter cube equal to what? 15 centimeter square times the what? Times the height. Remember, we are looking for the height of the what? The height of the pyramid. Now, having gotten that, we'll have our 105 centimeter cube equal to what? 15 centimeter square times what? The height. So the height now will now be equal to 105 centimeter cube divided by what? 15 centimeter what? Square. This will cut this, and we'll have our what? Centimeter. So we want to reduce this to the barest minimum. When we have 15, 5 here will give us 3, and 5 here will give us 2, 5 here will give us 1. So 21 divided by 3. So 21 divided by 3 will give us our 21 divided by what? 3 centimeters. So our height now will now be what? Our height will now be equal to what? 21 divided by 3 will give us 7 centimeters. So the height of that pyramid, the height of the pyramid H, will be equal to what? 7 centimeters. So you see, if you can know the general formula you use in calculating a pyramid, even if it is a rectangular pyramid you are given, you can be able to find the height, or you can be able to find the volume of the pyramid, because the general formula for finding the pyramid of any shape is what? The volume of that pyramid equal to 1/3 times the area of the base of that shape times the height. Now let's look at question number 29. This is question number 29, and question number 29 says each interior angle of a regular polygon is 168. Find the number of sides of the what? The polygon. Now we want to look at the number of sides of this polygon, and we are told that this is a regular polygon and each of the side is 168 degree. Now if we look at that, we want to look at the external angle of this the external angle of this polygon, the exterior angle of this polygon. Now if the interior angle is 168 degree, then the exterior angle will be equal to what? 180 degree minus what? 160 what? 168. So if we subtract this, we are going to have what? 12 what? Degree. Now that means the exterior angle of each of these polygon, regular polygon, is 12 what? Degree. And recall that the exterior angle of a regular polygon is what? The exterior angle of a regular polygon is what? 360 degree divided by the number of what? Sides. So if I'm looking for the exterior angle of a regular polygon, the exterior angle is equal to what? This. So if we look at the exterior angle of this polygon, we'll come to see that we can find the number of sides of this polygon. Now if we look at the exterior angle, we find out that the exterior angle is what? 12 degree, equal to what? 360 degree over what? Over n. So our n will now be equal to 360 degree divided by what? Divided by 12. Now if we divide this, we are going to get the value of the exterior angle. Now if 3 goes here, 3 will give us 4, 3 will go here to give us 1, 3 will go here to give us 2, and what? 0. So that will give us 120 divided by what? 4. 2 will go here to give us 2, 2 will go here to give us what? 6. So 2 here, 1, 2 here will give us what? 30. So that means that polygon has what? Has 30 what? Has 30. So this is question number 29, and we'll go further to look at the solution to question number 30, which is the final question. So question number 30, this is the final question we'll be taking for today, and it says in the diagram M and N is equal to P and what? The line M and MN is equal to line PQ, and MNP is 2x, while this angle is this. They say you should find the value of P in this angle because both of them have x. Now if we extend this angle this way, we are going to realize something. Let's extend these lines and extend these lines. So do you notice something? That this angle here is alternate to what? To these angles, and there is a rule that alternate angles are what? Are equal. Now what does that mean? This is equivalent to when I have something like this. If I have something like this with these angles being equal, that means if I have this an angle here, this angle also be the same thing with what? With this angle, and that's exactly what we are seeing here. So if this angle is M and this is N, definitely M will be equal to what? To N, and that is exactly what we are seeing here if we extend what? This angle. So if these two angles are equal, they are alternate angles, so we can say they are what? Equal. So we are looking at what? Them being what we call alternate what? Alternate angles. So if they are alternate angles, the rule in angles, the rules of having two alternate angles, when two angles are alternate, they are equal. So we can say 2x now is equal to what? 3x minus what? Minus 50. So if we simplify this, we are going to have our 3x minus 50 to be equal to what? 2x. And so our 3x minus 2x will be equal to what? 50. So our x will be equal to what? 50. So this is not the value we are looking for. We are looking for the value of x. And so if the value of x is 50, we are asked to find angle P. That is this angle NP. and what? And Q. And this angle NP and Q is this value. So angle what? NP and Q will be equal to what? 3x minus what? 50. And what is x? X is 50. So that will give us 3 times what? Times 50 minus what? Minus 50. And this will give us 150 minus what? 50. So that means angle NPQ is equal to what? 100 what? Degree. So this is how we go about solving questions involving these rules, especially angles like this. Corresponding angles, alternate angles, all these are the solutions to such angles. So I want you to take note of this, and this is the final question for this part of the 2020 Waec past question solution. We look forward to solving the other last part, which is the other part, which will be from 31 to 40. I want you to look forward to having that solution as you watch this solution. I want you to take your time, check our videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can regularly get feeds of our video. Thank you very much for watching.